Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more in the Buddha's words. We'll be reading two short pieces for this particular section of the book. So, with that, let's get into this. Section 2, Analysis of the Eightfold Path. Monks, I will teach you the Noble Eightfold Path and will analyze it for you. Listen and attend closely. I will speak. Yes, Venerable Sir, the monks replied. The Blessed One said this. And what, monks, is the Noble Eightfold Path? Right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. And what, monks, is right view? Knowledge of suffering, knowledge of the origin of suffering, knowledge of the cessation of suffering, knowledge of the way leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called right view. And what, monks, is right intention? Intention of renunciation, intention of non-ill will, intention of harmlessness. This is called right intention. And what, monks, is right speech? Abstinence from false speech, abstinence from malicious speech, abstinence from harsh speech, abstinence from idle chatter. This is called right speech. And what, monks, is right action? Abstinence from destruction of life, abstinence from taking what is not given, abstinence from sexual misconduct. This is called right action. And what, monks, is right livelihood? Here a noble disciple, having abandoned a wrong mode of livelihood, earns his living by right livelihood. This is called right livelihood. And what, monks, is right effort? Here, monks, a monk generates desire for the non-arising of unarisen evil, unwholesome states. He makes an effort, arouses energy, applies his mind, and strives. He generates desire for the abandoning of arisen evil, unwholesome states. He generates desire for the arising of unrisen, wholesome states. He generates desire for the continuation of arisen, wholesome states, for their non-decline, increase, expansion, and fulfillment by development. He makes an effort, arouses energy, applies his mind, and strives. This is called right effort. And what, monks, is right mindfulness? Here, monks, a monk dwells contemplating the body in the mind, or the body in the body, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating feelings and feelings, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating mind in mind, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed longing and dejection in regard to the world. He dwells contemplating phenomena, ardent, clearly comprehending, mindful, having removed longing and dejection in regard to the world. This is called right mindfulness. And what, monks, is right concentration? Here, monks secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from the unwholesome states, a monk enters and dwells in the first jhana, which is accompanied by thought and examination, with rapture and happiness born of seclusion. With the subsiding of thought and examination, he enters and dwells in the second jhana, which has internal confidence and unification of mind, is without thought and examination, and has rapture and happiness born of concentration. With the fading away as well of rapture, he dwells equanimous or equanimous and mindful and clearly comprehending. He experiences happiness with the body. He enters and dwells in the third jhana, of which the noble ones declare. He is equanimous, mindful, one who dwells happily, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, and with the previous passing away of joy and dejection. He enters and dwells in the fourth jhana, which is neither painful nor pleasant, and includes the purification of mindfulness by equanimity. This is called right concentration. Section 3. Good friendship. Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling among the Sakyans, where there was a town of Sakyans named Nagaraka. Then the Venerable Ananda approached the Blessed One, paid homage to him, sat down to one side, and said, Venerable Sir, this is half of the spiritual life. That is, good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. Not so, Ananda, not so, Ananda. This is the entire spiritual life, Ananda. That is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. When a monk has a good friend, a good companion, a good comrade, it is to be expected that he will develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path. And how, Ananda, does a monk with a good friend, a good companion, and a good comrade develop and cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path? Here, Ananda, the monk develops right view, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, maturing in release. He develops right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration, which is based upon seclusion, dispassion, and cessation, maturing in release. It is in this way, Ananda, that a monk with a good friend, a good companion, and a good comrade develops and cultivates the Noble Eightfold Path. By the following method too, Ananda, it may be understood how the entire spiritual life is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. By relying upon me as a good friend, Ananda, beings subject to birth are freed from birth. Beings subject to aging are freed from aging. Beings subject to death are freed from death. Beings subject to sorrow, lamentation, pain, dejection, and despair are freed from sorrow, lamentation, pain, dejection, and despair. By this method, Ananda, it may be understood how the entire spiritual life is good friendship, good companionship, good comradeship. But that ends the actual reading portion. Let's get into looking at what the introduction says about the parts we just read. Chapter 7. Part 2 gives formal definitions to the individual path factors, but does not concretely show how their practice is to be integrated into the life of a disciple. The detailed application will be filled out later in this chapter and in later chapters. Chapter 7, Part 3, or Section 3, throws a different spotlight on the path than we are accustomed to hear in standard Buddhist rhetoric. While we are often told that the practice of the Buddhist path depends entirely on personal effort, this sutta emphasizes the importance of spiritual friendship. The Buddha declares that spiritual friendship is not merely half the spiritual life, but the whole of it. For the endeavor to attain spiritual perfection is not a purely solitary enterprise, but occurs in dependence on close personal ties. Spiritual friendship gives the practice of the Dhamma an inescapably human dimension and welds the body of relationship of teacher to students and horizontally by friendships among peers treading a shared path. Contrary to common assumption, the 8 path factors are not steps to be followed in sequence one after another. They are more appropriately described as components than as steps. Optimally, all 8 factors should be present simultaneously, each making its own distinctive contribution, like 8 interwoven strands of a cable that give the cable maximum strength. However, until that stage is reached, it is inevitable that the factors of the path exhibit some degree of sequence in their development. The 8 factors are commonly distributed into 3 groups as follows. The moral discipline group, made up of right speech, action, and livelihood. The concentration group, made up of right effort, mindfulness, and concentration. And the wisdom group, which is made up of view, the right view, and intention. But yeah, we'll go ahead and end that piece there. So we're getting a further look at the Noble Eightfold Path and how it kind of develops and diverges, but how all are necessary to fully achieve enlightenment. But with that, we'll go ahead and end this episode here. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite the sources. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.